as we concluded our other episode on how healthy self-worth, passionate lovers are securely attached, non-traumatized. Some of us are 5D mystics, some of us are spiritual, some of us are mindful, but the 5D thing, that's my thing, Maria's thing. It is the love frequency, so it's a securely attached, non-traumatized person. That's actually a human being who knows that nobody's a demon, devil, any of it. Mystics know higher, lower frequency. There's no need for stories, but we do have stories here at IHP, and that's because we do make fun of the 3D, 4D collective, not in a way of I want to make fun of my brothers and sisters, but they're not going to take the data seriously. They ignore their childhood trauma patterns, and they bring them to us. And so as Patrick Tahan points out, in a number of his lovely quotes. Let me get one in particular, since we're talking about not only healthy self-worth, compasses. I have a good one. Since I was a teen, I knew what love meant, which is why I didn't have any issue when my teenage boyfriend, he broke up with me. I was sad, of course. Did I cry? Yes. But I'm not like, oh my God, harboring resentment. So when I would talk about this relationship with people, I would just say, cowards basically will get what they've put out. But it wasn't meant in a way of how I know adopted child part people think that we all feel the same. No, because I didn't think I want them to be unhappy. Never did I ever want that. No, I just think that what you put out, you will bring back. And today I have confirmation of that. There are those who are addicted to drama. Thank you, Dr. Scott Lyons. Healing dependency on crisis and chaos in yourself and others. I look forward to reading your book. In the meantime, first I'm going to finish Personality and Wholeness and Therapy, Dr. Daniel Siegel, MD, which is really accurate for those who are securely attached and untraumatized. We love mindfulness practices with mindset skills and the inner growth mindset. That's what I do and what I offer as well. One-to-one mentorship, the masterclass when we'll have the right number of signups, workshops, retreats with my mystical Reiki master, Akashic record reader, tarot for the actual people who expand. So it's not only psychological development, it's personal development and spiritual growth, because you have a relationship with your own unconditionally loving soul. You don't be in the absence of the self of you. You have a whole self of you, which is why you expand like a verb. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel, again. And so when love is a verb too, thank you, Eric Fromm, and you didn't try me, Maria, proving it, but you end up finding out all these pieces of information that just lead you to say, wow, I'm simply a healthy self-worth woman. That's all this is. But there is a special thing. I have a superpower. It's called that my implicit memory has a twin in it, and I know no aloneness. So my actual mammalian heritage has no fear of being alone with the bear, because my body, my physiological state has no actual awareness at all, physically, sensation of being alone. Just letting you know that's a superpower, because I don't need to bond with you. I'm just going to tell you yes or no. And because with my twin, we've had plenty of repairs and ruptures. So what's an argument? Nothing more than, it's not an argument. Actually, I know how to say, I say tomato, you say tomato, and we can, forget the whole thing, but it's in a real way from the ventral vagal state. There are those who don't forgive. You know what happens when they don't forgive? So, okay, let me allow you to understand information, consciousness, reality. This is another good book that I can't wait to read. How a new understanding of the universe can help answer age-old questions of existence. There's also existential physics with Sabine. We also have restorative embodiment and resilience. We have consilience, the unity of knowledge. Thank you. There's so many poly-wise for my lovely polysecure community. And anybody who is a mono-wise, monoamory wise person, determined by Robert Sapolsky. Also complex borderline personality disorder with Dr. Daniel Fox. We got lessons about the brain, 7.5 lessons. This is with Lisa Feldman Barrett, who lets you know it is about mindset, because your mind is interpreting everything that's coming up from your body. Bessel van der Kolk lets you know the body keeps a score. That's another book. So with that, again, only ignorant human beings stay in their own trauma. Those are the lazy people who don't know what lovers or passion is about. And so as a teen, I didn't have any people who knew what love was about, which is why when I'm being told, but what? You want to stay friends with her and him? Don't you want to drag her down the street? Excuse me, I said. I don't remember which one of the people said that. I was like, what? Did you not hear that I made a promise to Jesus, God, Holy Spirit? I don't hurt people physically, especially over petty shit. Like, this is where I'm not a jealous person. I'm not insecure. Love is actually still here for both people. I have a bond with them. What are you talking about? You obviously don't know what love is. petty human being with low self-esteem. So I don't condone low self-esteem. I'm here for the ones who want to be their higher human potential. I share my stories on purpose. The ones who don't believe it, it's okay. They're the same ones who I don't need to say anything to. And the ones who pretend to understand it, they are also okay. Because, again, I'm not pretending to know what I'm talking about. I know what ventral energy is like and securely attached, non-traumatized people. Because, thank you, Pat Ogden, I do have the capacity to regulate independently of my relationships. You can thank my panic attacks, not a human being, please. But you can thank the human being called twin for helping me, because I need a mammal to be able to self-regulate in my ventral vagal state. Then you can thank my genes. And that's why determined, Robert Spolsky, if for any reason you're right, well, I know who's coming to IHP, the ones who know that a lot of people underestimate the gradual impact of little things adding up over time in one's childhood. Thank you, Rick Hansen. And we won't ignore it. We won't also bring forth in a relationship that which is our emotionally immature past. We cannot demand that our partners help us emotionally regulate while projecting our childhood abusers onto them. Thank you, Patrick Tan, for being out there for those who want to become kind and not be their past. I don't deal with any insecure people in a way of let me shame, blame, fault, revenge, or tell you what to do. Those are martyrs, superiors, or blamers. I don't educate people who actually choose a story over therapy. They're bountiful. They're textbook to a T, the teenage assholes who want to tell me that I'm stupid because I'm emotional first, and that trauma therapy is a waste of time, and everything that the fancy lady and man in suit with father and mother wounds, might I add, continue to say to people. And I laugh because, seriously, if you want to say you're smart, but you don't notice that you are telling yourself white lies over and over and over again to avoid doing the very thing that is actually something that's called healing yourself, please get into somewhere else. So Terry Real talks about your face in the mud. Once you realize you're doing the same thing with this wound, because you'll know it, that you promised you wouldn't do, but you're going to allow yourself to do it, there's no need for shame to be perpetuated. Self-compassion, self-understanding, and grounded in reality talk is, okay, I have childhood trauma, I'm going to go heal it so I don't waste my life in a low frequency, in a distorted self, pause with maladaptive patterns that are why I'm actually in this low, because there's only a way out of hell. And as the therapist negotiate with these people who do go, it's by coming to me. And so while we walk out the ladder out of hell, which burns every step of the way, this is, I forget what her name is, but she's like, this is how I negotiate. So you're in hell right now, self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart, all of it. We will get you out, but you're going to have to get through it. And that means your hands are going to burn every step, because that's how painful trauma memory is. So I don't actually support the ones who say we're going to get halfway through. Why would you get halfway through? Their inner child was never meant to go through that shit. They were not meant to be in that space, unless you don't believe in Jesus, who shares that the kingdom of God is within us. And if you're a scientist, well, that's true. Determined believes we have no free will. Then again, why are you going to tell me that you're smarter than me if you're suffering all the time? Human beings and master. As if you've been determined, then you don't have what it takes to get out of hell. And this is the part of where people don't like the truth, when it's kind of actually poke at them. I don't do any of this, by the way, to people. That here I only plan on having inspiring people, not the ones who pretend. Because it's a waste of time to talk to teenagers. They're biologically rude. Their ears are already down. They're already in their certainty of anger, so they're superficially using their words. They're also in their temporal junction, which means you're not really with the person. You're with their trauma time on a wheel, and they're spiting their own self and their household, and you have nothing to do with anything that's coming up. And no matter what they're throwing at you, at best you're going to get golden nuggets. Maybe. At worst, you're going to get nothing more than a very uninteresting interaction, because it's all their own insecurities. So you've done nothing more than waste your breath, waste your time in a frequency that is low with a person who has no interest in you, because they have no interest in themselves, because they're actually just playing out trauma time. So once again, there is no Lucifer, there's no intelligence, there's no someone's out to get me. It's an actual waste of the only breath you have in the 24 hours. That's how I'm going to bring it to you. So I don't waste time with people who want to perpetuate trauma. I haven't since I was a kid, because I don't have trauma charges. Maria has emotions. Don't you have emotions? If you're lying about it, I don't know why, but I ain't going to play along, because really I have better things to do with my life. Masculines. It's not men. It's all the left-brainers who pretend to not have a right brain. No, it's called structural dissociation. 11-year-olds started to do it with the flight response. The fight response got very uninteresting. teenagers who then grew up to be grown-ups in college who were telling me that I was weird. Oh, now I'm a 45-year-old woman. Like, yeah, I ain't weird. I'm just a healthy self-worth bitch to some, witch to others. And for the ones who say, wow, I want to be like you can get into your ventral energy. Don't tell me you want to be like me and then you don't do it. And it's not being like me. What they see is what their own body has. It's called the ventral energy. So my body simply reminds their body of what is their resource. And this is when it comes to people who have a lot of tiresome days because they're stressed out consistently in a inner child that has no grown-up. So it breaks my heart to hear something like that and then know, well, you're saying that I need to patch this. I'm not patching you. I'm giving you exercises to do that are very important for you. And I think and feel easily this is why. You don't have to do it, but that's exactly why there are therapists. So you will bring yourself to understand how much work. And then once you're done, you're not done. I went to it, Maria. You have more if you want, or you can go to Zen Master and do laundry. Have fun with laundry baskets, people. So it is very straightforward. Resiliency means you need to put up with you're made of emotions. You're made of emotions. I'm so sorry. I really find it very repetitive for myself because emotions are something normal to me, and I never figured out why kids didn't want to do it. Now I know a lot more. So there you go. Everything that happens in the material world, thank you, Sadhguru. It is essentially a certain kind of wave. If you're a good sailor, every wave is a possibility. Use your prefrontal cortex and you will be a sailor. And as I want to keep this one short for you all, here are Patrick Tahan's 5 ways to break generational trauma cycles, because I told you I would share with you. So as he says, you're not going to heal your emotional stuff if you're bringing it into a relationship. People are not in relationships if they're not with, I love myself first, and I'll bring my grown-up version to person, and my lovey, fun version, and my ventral energy. Secure attachment, non-traumatized people are lovers at IHP. We don't mess around and fuck with people's time. And when somebody thinks that they have a right to stay in their charges, stay wherever you want. Just don't come here, because really there's places for you to heal, like Patrick Tahan's platform. He helps anybody who wants to know what projection looks like. You walk into a supermarket, you look at a lady. No, a lady looks at you. She looked at me. She's a fucking bitch. Look at that. And I've seen plenty of women who want to do shit like that. And men who go, I'm going to beat a bill if tomorrow he looks at me. And it's like, okay. And yeah, I got it. You're little fucking pissy pants. But now that it's not just pissy pants, it's called projection. You could learn how to use your grown-up brain. So people who, it's a lie. It's a lie. No, it's not a lie. You just haven't tried it enough to be in your eustress and to figure out how amazing it is to have the mental, physical, and emotional mastery of you as a human being in your ventral energy. It's not a superpower, again. It's something you work yourself to, because your embodied brain is a muscle. But it's when you own your sense of self. You own your child parts. That's why you need reparenting with Patrick Tahan, for those who do. And those who pretend to do, again, they're all over this. There's so many different groups. It's amazing. It's amazing to watch the rainbows of colors, because really, I mean, I will, again, let you know, walk like an Egyptian. I get told that suffering is the one way I continue to expand. And I also know love and fear coexist to create the most magical of experiences. But that's because I get to consciously choose not to be in fear. Those who instead consciously choose to be in fear, well, they have something different. That hellhole is called self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart. They're charged parts from their 0-8-year-old, and they want to say that it's stories. And I'm going to say, no, it's cowards who don't go heal with Patrick Tahan or Terry Real to learn to be their self and love themselves, and to get off of their, drama and shared fantasy, and they're modulated. And when I see them in my classrooms interrupting and asking for shortcuts and actually thinking that they need to stay in poison in their body, I just think, wow, biologically rude people are everywhere. Please get away from schools. Luckily for us, they don't want to go to school. A good portion of them don't like data. So we are very bountiful, the ones of us who are intelligent, and we do know how to be grounded in reality, which is why we stick together. Even the mystics with science, we stick together and we have fun. And so those who are poor, unfortunate souls, so sad, but true, they're all hanging out and talking to each other, and then they like to point at the ignorant ones, which would be us. And, 5 ways to break generational trauma cycles. 1, telling the truth about the family versus protecting or enabling, yes, perpetrators, which means any insecurely attached human being who doesn't take trauma healing seriously. And no matter how much people say it's not black and no, it's not black and white, but it's very straightforward. 2, valuing healthy expression of emotions versus going inward or reacting. Yes, emotional health, very important, versus maladaptive patterns of behavior, drinking, drugging, fucking, binge eating, binge doing anything in a low frequency, maladaptive ruminating, which means you're wasting time and your imagination doing nothing except for being in a low frequency, which makes your body, so this is not fun. 3, protecting children from unhealthy shame versus setting them up for a lifetime of it. Yes, my mother taught me what it looked like when a grown-up, shame on them, you come to me and be polite. And as a self-agent, I saw her do the very thing she said she would. And so whenever I see any eyes of these grown-ups that whatever it is she looked at me and told me, I'm like, I don't even call her. Teenagers I told, touch me, I'll rat you out now. Yes, goody two, you keep coming with me. Keep coming with it, keep coming. I don't give a shit of your insults because they're not insulting. I actually like being smart. What are you, stupid? That's what it seems like. You're wasting your time doing what? What? Copying each other? Excuse me. You keep coming. Again, coming at me with what? Again, I don't care. It's what happens when you're a smart teenager who's like, what are you doing with your life? Just coming up with bullshit sentences. I don't understand. I don't need to bond with idiots. I don't want bonding with idiots. Ignorance is very not interesting at all. And there's that. So 4, taking risks to become authentic risks versus staying buried in family narratives. The karma people, oh, they have their self-fulfilling prophecies. They call themselves names from comic books. And then they get superheroes and supervillains, and some end up dying all alone, and they end up having these tragic stories for themselves. And again, it's like, wow, really? I mean, I love action movies. I love, for example, Rocky, even though I know some people won't love it. But 5, reclaiming joy versus believing that being perfect or miserable is all there is to life. Yes, none of us are perfect. None of us are miserable. We do have joy from our ventral energy. So there's this one amazing quote from Rocky where he is telling his son, you let people put a finger in your ear and tell you you're no good, and then you look for someone to blame. Now, let's pause because I do recognize there is actively something we could completely analyze if we wanted to from that movie, a lot of different ones, okay? So we're going to leave alone that part because we will acknowledge, Rocky, sorry, dude, you totally ignored your kid for someone else. You know, we know all about it, anybody who's watched. But let's put this away in the meantime. The kids got, yeah, I'm blaming my shadow. My father's a shadow. Let's not blame. Shall we take our own responsibility? And so this is the part of where he says what? Life will hit you to the floor, but it's not how hard you get hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. I love that quote, but from a ventral energy, that's different. Not from a actual, I think life hits you to the fucking ground like that. That's ridiculous. God doesn't hit his children. This is the part of where I come with faith again and spirit, discerning equanimous love. God doesn't hit me like that. That's a figure of speech. You're actually calling life. So the people who use this, if you fail, this is a frequency from the visceral with these little fists. And I'm thinking, you're accusing life, God, spirit, source, to hit you hard. You obviously don't know that source, divinity, isn't interested in punishing you like that. That's not how you expand. So you're giving me a story because your faith in humanity was broken, because you're broken, because you have defectiveness. You're not broken. You need fixing, though. Is your distorted version is I need to work for love because you didn't get free love. Thank you, Gabor Mate. So you had to work for love and you did not get to express all of your emotions without shame. No, you got shamed for getting angry. You got shamed for getting sad. You got shamed for getting afraid. You probably got teased for it too. Then you got shamed for being happy maybe and then disgusted and then you got shamed for a bunch of different childhood behavior because you're Patrick Tan, you're awesome, man. So the point is, a person who will tell me, whether they're mystic, spiritual, or mindful, that life and failure and you're barking up the wrong tree, because whether you bring in science or spirit, I'm like, dude, you're in a fucking story and your modulated embodiment is completely full of distress. You obviously don't understand how the brain works. let me explain it to you. So once again, it's empowering to say, yeah, don't let people put a finger in your ear. But from your ventral energy, it means life will give you things you will not expect. You will be able to move forward. There's air, there's water, there's food, you got family, you got health. This is a very basic story. I don't need to accentuate any of it to make it into some type of, no matter, again, how you twist and turn, 5D mystic here. In the enlightenment, so age your function of child, adult. God don't come punishing any of children this way that, and this is another perspective, food for thought. Because again, no matter how many different ways I look to this, it's amazing, lack self-aware people. They just really are hooked on drama. But that's explainable. That's all they've known. That's all they've known is how to be with fists, which is why, thanks Patrick Tan for being out there, because if your faith in humanity has been broken, you go to Patrick. Then you go to Terry, then come back around. As my faith hasn't been broken in humanity. All humans are just as equally valuable as I am. And the weak ones are just as valuable as the other weak ones. But some of us are intelligent, with intelligence, mental, emotion, physical. Lovers don't come in and out of each other's lives. Lovers don't lie. Lovers don't hide. Lovers don't be, I'm going to put up with shit. And the cliche sentence of marrying a ball and chain and a lot more. We'll keep talking about it. But long story short, you have passion in your bones when you're a ventral energy person because you're securely attached, non-traumatized. You ain't looking to perform in love. And you ain't looking to have somebody pat you on the back and tell you, hey, everything's going to be all right. Because excuse me, the world, it's going to be fine. Excuse me again, there's no safe place. Asteroid, don't hit me, please. I'm a person who's a realist. You can't be with me 24 hours. Don't lie. I told someone that. I said, stop telling me you're going to keep me safe. What's safe? I don't need it. 1, 2, seriously. Again, a roof could fall on my head. So when you're literal, but you're also having that humor and you don't have your faith in humanity broken, you enjoy ventral energy. Come on over. We're securely attached people. We heal trauma seriously. We take care of healthy self-worth. I learned a lot in the last years. I'm going to keep learning about attachment trauma. People who want a story, their adopted child part people are going to go find their stories. There's so many groups out there. They're having a good time. I'm having a good time too. And we'll be back with more in the meantime. Have a great day. And like, share, and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow. And thanks for tuning in.